Welcome to Conscious Living here at the Specialty Produce Network. We are so glad you're here to support your lifestyle with the fastest growing resource for conscious families. So sit back, relax, connect. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Conscious Living. I'm here live at the Specialty Produce Network in San Diego, California, and I'm here live through Facebook Messenger. Marna Taylor from Nashville, Tennessee. Welcome, Marna.
Hi, it's so great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, it's so great to have you with us today to share with us some really wonderful aspects of music and what it brings to our lives. And I am just so excited to introduce you and to have you share with everyone what you do and the music you bring forward to the world.
Oh, thank you so much, Ashley. I've lived in Nashville. This is my 20th year. My sisters and I actually each kind of followed each other out to Nashville, and it's a very special place. We just love it here. And it's interesting because music's been a part of my family and my growing up all throughout my life. Our parents sing. My mom and her sister used to sing together, and family reunions were just like, day-long song fests that would just happen. And it was such a part of our growing up that, my sisters and I had a band in the 90s called the Daughters of Justice. Our dad is a judge in Oklahoma, and we felt like that was a very fitting name.
Yes.
Even though in the 90s he would say, well, I'm technically a judge and not a justice. And what's funny is we've actually waited him out, and now that he's retired, he serves on 2 tribal courts in Oklahoma.
Wow.
as a justice of their Supreme Court. So when we made it to Nashville and each started doing music, we found ourselves doing a lot of things separately. I mean, we did a few things together, but mostly it was for fun, like an 80s cover band and some different things. But it wasn't until last year where we kind of came to the decision that we should do a record together as the Daughters of Justice, and it has just unfolded in the most beautiful way. We did a Kickstarter campaign, which was a little vulnerable, but also really special because it gets people to be engaged in what you're doing and to feel like they're part of it. And the love and support we felt from the people from our community back home and our friends here in Nashville and all over the U.S. and around the world even, we just have had so much love. And honestly, love was the whole key. We wanted to bring more love and joy into the world through our music, and that's really what we feel like we've been able to accomplish.
Oh my gosh, yes. The love just pours through. Hearing your song Alchemist on YouTube.
You.
Oh my gosh. The vibrations, the energy, the love coming through in your voice is just amazing.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that.
Speaking of that, like alchemy and vibration and what we bring forward to the world, I mean, what do you feel? What was the synergy behind the song Alchemist? What was that about?
So 2 years ago, almost exactly, I was in Cancun for a Dr. Joe Dispenza workshop, and it was an advanced workshop. I really went with no expectations. I wrote down on the app where we could all connect to the people that were the attendees that I was a singer-songwriter from Nashville, Tennessee. But it dawned on me after I wrote that I really hadn't written anything in 3 years. I had taken a bit of a break from doing music after a project I was part of called Sweetwater Rose had to go on hiatus when one of our band members found out she had breast cancer. She's on the other side of it and doing beautifully now. And
right.
But it was just a time when everything we worked for had to be put on. It ended up being an indefinite hold. And so but the universe heard the call, because as I was in the workshop, I remember in the first meditation, I just had so much gratitude come up, especially around my family and getting to grow up with music as such a part of our life. And I remember I had worn some makeup that day, which was, I'm sure, all down my face by the end of that meditation. And I walked out with someone who kind of hugged me and could tell that I'd had an emotional experience and I said, I'm sure I'm kind of a mess. And he said, oh, just a little war paint. Well, by the time I got to my room, I had the thought, this war paint ain't what you think. I've waited years for these kind of tears. And then all of a sudden I realized, like, oh, wow, I think a song is coming through. And sure enough, as I went back into session and was listening to Dr. Joe as he, was on the whiteboard, speaking to the work that he does, I just kept getting more and more of the song. And by the second meditation, I got the chorus, and I was like, and then the next break, he was actually in front of me, he and two staff members, and we rounded the corner, and I just said, oh, Dr. Joe, you'll never believe what's happening. I've had this song come through, and I was in a really childlike spirit of wonder, and just and that creation sometimes just comes so freely when you're able to be in that place. And
Yeah.
I looked. It was funny because I just sang it to them. I didn't even judge it. Later I did. Later I thought, why did I do that? But at that moment, I was able to just be, sort of allow it to happen. And I don't think I could have stopped it anyway. It was really a powerful experience. And I believe it has charted the course for what has happened in the last 2 years with being able to start this project with Leah and Jocelyn, my sisters, and have my family be part of it. My parents are both on the record. In fact, Alchemist ends with a sort of a girls' choir. It's got kind of this chant thing of "We will rise up," which actually came a little later. But I love that my mom is part of that, and several of our special friends, like my girlfriend that I was in Sweetwater Rose with, and just several close friends. And then my dad also he's featured in one of the songs that we have as a cover song. So it's been for sure in the top 5 experiences of my life. And I think I can speak on behalf of all of us to say that the joy we were bringing was a lot of it we were bringing to ourselves, which was just really the unexpected upside.
Well, that's just so beautiful, right? To share about how that experience being at a workshop really helped support you and open you to these ideas of creating these lyrics and these attributes, these vibrations, this consciousness, this awareness to bring through with that song.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
It felt very much, you hear songwriters talk about experiences like that, and they say things like, it didn't come from me, it came through me. Or you'll hear someone say, it was bigger than me. And I never fully understood that until this song, because I did feel, and then because of that, I felt a stewardship to it. I really felt like I needed to somehow honor it and get it into the world.
Well, and those are such beautiful words too, right? Because we wanted to share with the audience today really about the idea of blood harmony and what does that mean, right? It's a rather provocative 2 words together, right? And what does that mean? And would you share with us some of the harmony? I mean, you were certainly sharing with us about how your family members and friends are all part of the process of you becoming a singer and a songwriter, and then putting that on the album to share with the world.
Absolutely.
In that deep level, in that heart-centered space, what does blood harmony mean to you? What would you like to share?
I'd love to share how the term sort of came into our our existence a bit. We years ago, we got to sing for several of the Opry members, which is a big deal here in Nashville. And there were Opry members who were just legends, and one of them being this woman named Kitty Wells, who is, she came up with Patsy Cline and Loretta Lynn, and just, somebody that it was a very big deal for us to even be in the room with her, but for her to come up and just gush over our singing. And she's the one who used the term. She said, "I just love that blood harmony. There's nothing like it." And it was one of those phrases where you don't exactly have to know what it means to know what it means,
Right.
you know? And it just struck such a chord with us that we never forgot it. And we felt like it was the deepest truth of what our music is, because it's in our blood. It's and you know, it's just so it therefore like courses through us, I guess you would say. And so that was why we chose to have that be the title, because it seemed it seemed to carry a certain weight to it that felt really special and important to us.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so when you sing together, your sisters, your two other sisters, and the three of you sing as a trio, and you're on stage, what do you feel together? I mean, what would that experience be to express to everyone who may not ever get on a stage or know how to sing?
Well, I actually just got goosebumps when you were asking that question, and honestly, I feel a little emotional around it, which is something I didn't expect, because I talk about it a lot. But I told them when we were in the studio that singing with them is like taking a breath. There is something so, and I didn't realize this until, and it honestly, I think we had to each do different projects so we could really appreciate what we have together. And by doing the Sweetwater Rose project for several years, I remember how we would really have to be, we'd have to really make it a point to sing without any vibrato, to try to keep things very, sort of even, because since we weren't family, a lot of times it wouldn't sync up just right. So we would have to, really focus on keeping it sort of straight and then layering on top. And it was still beautiful harmony. But what I realized that with my sisters, we don't have to think at all. We just, and what I realized is, and I'd never thought of it before, is that we must have the same frequency.
Yes.
That's the only way I can explain it, is that we were born into a frequency together that has sustained us throughout our life. And so when we sing together, and I know when my mom would sing with her sister, people would say the same thing. They were like, "And do you guys practice breathing together too?" And she'd say, "No, I mean, it's just innate. It
comes that simple."
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And it's not that we don't work hard, or we do. I mean, we had a lot to learn and to do for this project, but it was so joyous to be able to do it. It actually just fed the soul, on so many levels. And that, I think, was something that none of us had anticipated.
Well, so speaking of that, it's family harmony. And what would you say some of those attributes growing up that makes it so easy? I mean, obviously there's genetics, obviously your sisters, your girls, you're all hanging out doing the same things together while you're growing up. But what would you say inside of values or family understanding, something where you're in synchrony, right? And you're in harmony together. What were some of that glue that brought that harmony together for you all to create this concept of blood harmony?
Well, we certainly grew up, singing with our extended family, and also singing together in church and things like that, which I think a lot of people start out that way. We happened to be part of a congregation that didn't use musical instruments, so everything. So if it was going to sound halfway decent, we had to do it. We had to make those harmonies be something special, and because of that, I just think that we learned how to layer those voices, and just, I don't know, it's hard a little bit to explain, because I haven't had to try to construct it in that way. But I just know that now that I'm older and can really look back on it, I see the legacy of music in our family. My papa and his brothers all sang. I mean, beautiful, beautiful singers, all these guys. And so I, when we were teenagers and we would go to these family reunions in the Texas Hill Country, and everybody would bring instruments that played, and people would sing. I mean, it would be hours. It would be, 6 hours of people just in this small house, just crammed in there singing, and as kids, we would kind of come in and go, come and go. But I have such fond memories of it. And I keep thinking of the saying, make a joyful noise, because that is what it is. I mean, it was music and laughter and all the things that just
elevate your
feed
mood,
you.
right? Elevate
Yeah,
your mood.
exactly.
And it's like,
Yeah.
it's contagious, and everyone
It
in the
is.
house is laughing and joyfully singing and
Yeah,
sharing
and
in that harmony.
I now know that it was raising our vibration level, and those were terms that I didn't really, have any understanding of at that time. But
Yeah.
I see now the importance of it, and I also see how it's so easy to have it, sort of go out of your existence for a while. I mean, all of us have at times, just not been doing music, and I think that especially in the way our world is now, and it's moving so fast, and we're just inundated with so much information and so much, social media and different things that we
so
can
many
get
things to do.
distracted by. Yeah, there's a lot to do, and so being able to set that time aside and do this together, it just, I don't know, it was life-changing for all of us, I think.
It creates those sweet memories that really get us
Yeah.
in the mood, right? We get dancing, we get moving, we get
Yeah, exactly.
get together.
And it helped that we had really phenomenal musicians. My husband is a drummer, and he plays with Steve Earle, and he played on it, and his buddy played bass that plays with Steve as well. Our friend Will Kimbrough produced it and played guitar. He plays with Emmylou Harris and Rodney Crowell, as well as he's a phenomenal artist in his own right, singer-songwriter. And
Yeah.
we had a friend, John Gravoff, fly in to play steel guitar. He and my husband played together years ago, and then we got to have our Mickey Raphael play harmonica on several of the songs, and he's played with Willie Nelson for since he was 18 years old, and he's now in his 60s. So, that's that sound that's so identifiable to those songs that are iconic and that were such a big part of our growing up. And, so it just felt full circle. We've coined it vintage country, because it's not exactly what you'd hear on country radio these days, but would fit more into the category of Americana music. And, it's just been a great joy for all of us.
Oh, well, that's absolutely so enlightening and so understandable too, and so easy for everyone to do. And thinking about that, in the area of songwriting,
Yeah.
you and I and Kate Lumley were talking and collaborating the other day, and you had talked about how well, and sometimes in those instant moments of inspiration turning into inspired action, you had developed a song and a little bit of a bridge and a refrain. Would you share that with everyone a little bit about
sure.
how that came to be and what that means for you and how we're sharing that with the world?
Are you talking about Soar?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I had sort of forgotten about it, because it had been, in fact, when I looked back and realized that I hadn't written anything in 3 years, when Alchemist came through, I hadn't written anything in 3 years. And the song that I wrote was this song called Soar. And I have not recorded it or anything. But it was this situation with a dear friend and mentor where I had, sort of put her on a pedestal and realized that in order for us to really move forward in our relationship, I had to be an equal to her. And that was not her, that was me. I had basically lowered myself, because that's the only way that somebody can be on a pedestal, because really there's no such thing as that.
Right.
And so I remember, Kate and I met at a retreat here in Nashville back in April, and just were instantly drawn to one another because of her. She's a phenomenal artist and has these characters that she's creating. And I just was so drawn to her, just her inspiration and the thing. And she was really drawn to my music. So it was Mutual Admiration Society, I guess. And so
Yes.
I,
The best way to
I,
collaborate.
right. And so through that, she has been inspired for a character that she wanted me to sort of tap into. And
Yeah.
that happened over this last retreat that I just went to, which was kind of the 2-year anniversary of the one where Alchemist came through. And I had this insight that maybe this song would be something that would work for that. And it basically started out, I was a scared little thing, you took me under your wing, and I really liked it there. Well, I hope it's all right, but for me to take flight, I have to open my own to the air and soar like never before. Fly free, fly far, and glide right there side by side. Together we'll both do more if we can both soar into that big blue sky. You and I up so high, we'll soar like never before. Fly free, fly far, we'll glide right there side by side. Together we'll both do more if we can both soar. So there's more to it than that, but at some point that'll come to life, and I feel like maybe it was supposed to be.
It's
it was
just
Kate that
beautiful.
really brought that back into my existence. So.
It is just beautiful, and wow, what a song of inspiration.
Thank you.
And really for a lot of the children too. I mean, I really wanted to share your love, your energy, your purpose, your passion in life to really bring through. There's so many children on the planet right now that have music in their heart, in their ears, in their brain, in their body, and they want to express it. And they may not know how, or they may not know that they could just start singing spontaneously in the kitchen while cooking with mom and dad, right?
Right.
And they can start developing harmony in their family and really bringing that through and having that opportunity to bring music really aptly, really forwardly and actively in their lives. And I wanted to share that because I think it's so important to bring forward your passion, your purpose, and really how you shine in the world.
Well, I know that I'm so grateful that my parents were, they wanted us to perform and to express that part of ourselves. So they got us into children's theater really young. And so I was very shy, actually. I know when I say that to people now, they don't believe me, but I was super shy, very introverted. And it really gave me a chance to kind of come out of my shell. And we did do a lot of, in fact, we laughed. There's one song on this record that we wrote in 1986 because we were really doing dishes in the kitchen and just thought, let's see if we could write a song, and then all of our friends said, you have to put it on this album. I mean, we all remember it. So, and we would put on plays for our parents when they would come home from work. We would, because our dad was a judge and our mom actually was a music teacher who later went back to law school and my sisters and I were all three born in 2.5 years. So when she went to law school, we were 2, 3, and 4 years old, which I know we look back and think, how did she do it? But it was a great example too of a strong, role model as for girls, and just that you could do anything. And they just really always supported everything that we did musically. And I think it gave us that courage to keep doing it and to want to just keep, performing for them. And, it was a great way to grow up. And honestly, I have to remind myself a lot as an adult to go back to that childlike spirit. And that really is such a wonderful thing, is to be able to tap back into that. And I know a lot of people call it like the beginner's mindset with different things, but it just being able to go there and just remember what it was like before we were all, a little bit more cynical and jaded with the things that go on in our world, and go back to that sense of wonder and finding the beauty in things, and just anything that kind of sparks that joy inside
and
yourself.
Recreating that curiosity, and then
yes.
and during that curiosity, have celebration throughout the whole process.
Exactly.
Versus being so fixated on the end goal, we can be curious while we're doing it, while we're singing, while we're harmonizing, while we're creating that unity with each other, and that blood harmony between one another.
It's so true. It's the journey, not the destination.
That's for sure. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us today about your love, your passion, and your music. And how can people or parents, if their child is, experiencing spontaneous music and blood harmony in the family, how could they reach out to you for some support or advice or guidance about how to do that with their kids?
I would love it. We would all be honored to be part of that. We have a website, daughtersofjustice.com, and that sounded really Southern.com.
So daughtersofjustice.com.
Yes, and we also have a Facebook page.
Awesome.
And so look for us on Facebook. We're getting our Instagram stuff together too, but we just have not. That the Facebook right now has been the
main focus.
The main focus, and it's a great way to interact and connect, and we'd be happy to have any kind of
fabulous.
Be part of any ideas.
On your website on daughtersofjustice.com, they can reach you through email, and then they can private message you or message you through Facebook.
Absolutely.
All right. And your sister's name is Marna Taylor, and your sister's names are?
My sisters are Jocelyn Taylor and Leah Taylor.
Beautiful. Wow. Yeah. Daughters of Justice in blood harmony.
Yes, thank you so much for having me on today, Ashley. It has been just a joy to get to know you and have this conversation.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for sharing this conversation with all the children and the kids and the families in the world. We so appreciate
you. Thank you. Appreciate you too. Love what you're doing. Really means a lot to the world.
Thank you. Thank you all for listening to this podcast. We are so grateful for you tuning in and experiencing the innovations and opportunities we all can incorporate into our daily lives. Connect with us at centerforconsciouskids.com to sign up for the latest news that showcases these revolutionary services and products. Our global website provides families with an online conduit for enrichment and transformation in all our lives. Please share with other kids and families who would enjoy these advancements in living consciously. I'm Ashley Lee, and I thank you so much for joining us.